Go ahead. Hey, welcome everybody. It's another episode on the Freedom Frequency channel here. And today, I'm not going to bang up other people on YouTube as we've been doing. It's one of those things where I feel like there's these people that come on YouTube and they start talking about PMAs and private membership associations and all this other stuff. And I just feel it's kind of my duty to, along with Angela over at the PMA Manifesto, to really call these people out. But today we're not doing that. And it's because I have been asked from time to time, would you audit my documents? Would you look at what I bought somewhere else? And I kept saying no. And then sometimes it'd be yes, but it depends on how many pages your documents are. So today we're going to go into, and what did I name this? PMA document mistakes and how our audit or templates can fix them. So we're going to go over some of the top things that I see as issues, whether people are buying documents from somebody else, creating their own. God help us using AI to create them. AI has its place and I use it for certain things. But if you're creating documents, like there was those attorneys that used AI early on to write legal briefs, and it just brought in possible uh, court decisions or legal cases, and those cases never existed. So you got to be careful with what you're doing. Probably the thumbnail today will be made through AI just because it's faster than me trying to do it on Canva. But anyways, hopefully some people jump on live stream today. If not, thanks for watching the replay. And if you do jump on, let us know where you're from. So the first thing is, I guess, the top 5 mistakes that I see a lot in these documents. And the first one is going to be vague or incomplete bylaws. Now, this is a huge concern because if it doesn't spell out decision making, doesn't tell you what the requirements of membership is, um, how you govern your day-to-day daily operations within your association, and this is regardless of what type of association you have, that is going to expose you to certain things. So one thing that you'll see in the documents that are DIY documents that I'll talk about a little later, or if I write documents for you, is the fact that we have um, alternative dispute resolution built in there. I almost forgot what it was called, the ADR. And that way, there, if you have a member that's not aligning with your mission, or maybe they've changed over the years, and you want to have a way of removing them, you want to have all that spelled out in there. Another big one is no member vetting process. Now, that's another big thing where people just let anybody in. Oh, I've started my unincorporated association. We're getting together for sustainable living or prepping or whatever the reason is for your association. And then they just start letting all these people in without really vetting them. Now, when we had started Liberty House or even the PMA Manifesto Facebook group, we asked certain questions. We try to vet these people early on. It was, hey, in even the Freedom of Frequency, that's easy for me to say today, Facebook page, which you can find it there and ask to become a member. And there's a little vetting process. But early on, it was all word of mouth. So we started Liberty House with a few people, and then it was like, hey, you might want to join this. Hey, I think this group is something you'd be interested in. And whoever just jumped on to watch, thank you. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments. So you want to have a vetting process also, and that's something that you won't see very often in these documents. So whether you're using AI to generate them, taking somebody else's, going to somebody's website and downloading their stuff and trying to make it your own. So I've already kind of touched on this no dispute resolution clause. Early on, when I was part of one of these other groups, and their documents were like, oh, it's a tribunal. You're going to put a tribunal together. Well, okay, but who's going to make that up? And what are the rules and regulations? Are we using Robert's rules? Are we using something else? So you want to have all that laid out on there. And then this one's kind of big, and that's mixing public and private activities. Now, you can do open houses, or let's say you have one that's more education based. You can have open houses to bring in new members. You can advertise the benefit of joining your association, but you want to make sure that your activities are private and for members only. So what we would do is we would have, like, if somebody was interested in coming, we get together and do a potluck. We'd invite people, they would come, we get to meet them, get to know them, see what they're all about. And then as a group, our executive board, I guess you could call it, the people that were kind of, filling certain positions within the association, we were the ones that made the decisions on whether these people are coming in or not. So you want to make sure that you have that private and public aspect taken care of. And then the other big thing is inconsistent language. So this is one of the other mistakes that you want to avoid when putting together your documents, whether you're doing it yourself. Like I said, really don't use AI. If you're looking at somebody else's, you want to make sure that um, you have your consistent language throughout that, and that it mimics what your goals are as an association. Um, One of the other things that we're going to talk about, or I guess we can transition to, so those are like my top five. The next one would be why generic templates can hurt your protection. We have the right to assemble, we have the right of association. They're backed by the First and 14th Amendment, like we've talked about before. But if they're outdated, if they're written for a completely different purpose than what you're um, associating for. So I've had people that I've worked with and talked to, and they said, well, I have all these different things I want to do, but I want to do it under this one big umbrella. Now, it all depends on the situation. I don't really like doing that. I like having definite layers of defense when it comes to our association and how we're going to protect ourselves. So you want to make sure that it's the documents are written towards what your association is going to be doing. And if you're going to be doing anything out that, then maybe outside that, rather, you want to have maybe a separate association for that. So that doesn't mean if somebody tells me, hey, listen, Aaron, I don't care what you have to say. I just want one big association. We want to do all these different things underneath this one umbrella. Well, then, yeah, I guess if and you're driving the bus, if that's the direction you want to go in, you can go that way. But I think that you're putting yourself unnecessarily at risks as far as how large, we've talked about intimate and expressive associations on here. You want to have more of that intimate association established, and not really an expressive one where you have, thousands of members all over. Um, let's see. So we've talked about some of the pitfalls and some of the things that can happen when you are, putting your documents together, or if you're using somebody else's, or you've downloaded somewhere. Some of the different pitfalls that we want to kind of avoid. But there's some ways that you can actually strengthen it. And I'm actually got like notes today from, not just speaking off the cuff, which hopefully I stay a little bit on track and we're not, a super long video, and I'm getting more right to the point. Because I know, like, if you're watching this right now, that you don't want to hear me ramble on like I'm doing. So let's get on to it. So how to strengthen your PMA. First of all, get customized, complete documents. Whether you do them yourself, you go over to the eastcoastpma.com website and get the DIY templates, which I'm actually doing a summer sale on. If you wanted those, they're normally $650. You can get them for $550 now. So then those lay out everything you need to do, color coded. It took us years to put those together, but at least you have that option. So you want complete documents, bylaws, membership agreement, policies, alternative dispute resolution. You want your bylaws, your articles of organization, your membership agreement, all that stuff. And you want it to be really tight. That way there's no questioning on what your association is actually doing. And people are jumping on and off the live. So thanks for watching. Feel free to drop a comment or let me know where you're watching from. Make sure your day-to-day operation matches what is written. That's another thing that we've kind of talked about a little bit, but you want to make sure however your documents are written, that's what you're actually doing. So if you are let's say, prepper survivalist type of association, right? So you're going to have different preps, classes, uh, freeze drying seminars, whatever, how to store food long term, maybe canning classes, all that stuff. You want to make sure that your documents outline that and that they go with it. Your operations match that, and not oh, we're going to do holistic healing. That's completely separate. Maybe that's a different association. And then you have two different associations within your community, right? So that's kind of what I'm getting at here. Keeping proper records, that's another big thing. So you want to keep records of your minutes, your logs, any policy updates, members come, members go, reason why somebody was removed. If you are looking to hold a certain class and you all get together and say, okay, we're going to do a canning class and then the canning class doesn't happen, why didn't it happen? Whether they're memorandums for record, just so you know. But should you ever leave the association or new people come in and take it over, then you want to make sure there's that record. So another thing I see people not do is keep records, and you really want to make sure you keep records. And the reason why is if you were ever challenged, let's say I'm a part of your association and I say, listen, you guys are being jerks, I want to do things this way. And you're like, you know what, Aaron, you're not really aligning with our mission and our goal here as a unincorporated association. You know, you're not really aligning with our reasons to associate. We're going to ask you to leave. And then I try to challenge that. When you go to court, you can say, look, here's everything we have. Here's our bylaws, our articles of organization. Here's the membership agreement that Aaron signed. Here's our mission statement. This is what we gather for. This is our reason for association. Here's all of our minutes. You know, we're running this like a real organization. And then the courts, in most cases, from what we've looked at with case law, is that they're going to side with the established association because that person has agreed to those bylaws and articles of organization. Now, keep in mind, if you're doing something grossly illegal, then that's a whole different story. So we have that. And then the last one, a review of your documents regularly for accuracy and compliance, because things change, you know, and you just want to make sure those are updated and or that sort of thing. Or people come over from, you know, you have one treasurer there, then the treasurer leaves, you have a new treasurer come in, a secretary, president, vice president, all that type of stuff. So uh, we have that. And then don't risk your PMA's future on bad documents. I don't know if this can be really stated enough. I've seen stuff. I think Clearphone early on had switched over to operating as an association, and they had their, I think it was their bylaws online, right? So when you looked at it through the website, it showed that they were talking, you know, in those bylaws, they were clearly written for like medical procedure or medical type of association. You know, we don't agree to this, we don't agree to that, that sort of thing. So again, you know, I've seen associations, you know, you can buy templates, or I guess templates is the best way to put it, documents for $200. And I've seen, you know, other groups out in Texas that sell them for $10,000 and more. And I've read most of them. I don't think I've ever read the $200 one, but I've read some of the other ones that people have charged lots of money for, all these different 501s or 508c1a companies and stuff like that, that we kind of try to debunk here on the channel. And they're not that great, and people pay a lot of money for these things. So you want to make sure that whatever documents you get, whether you do them yourself, it's DIY, you hire myself or one of the Angelas to make them over at the PMA Manifesto, uh, then you want to make sure that you have that consultation with somebody. You're getting really good documents. And that's one thing we try to strive here at, is that when you're getting your documents, you're putting your association together, that you're getting a well-crafted contract between you and your members. Now, again, like we've talked about before, that doesn't negate, you know, put you above the law or anything like that. You still have to be lawful and operate legally. But again, it protects you and your members from more of intrusion or your privacy. So these were kind of some of the things I just wanted to cover. I really wanted to kind of keep this one short today. I got a couple people online. If you have a question, oh, I think we're streaming on Rumble, which I haven't done in like 9 months. So I don't know if I can see those comments, but man, my eye looks terrible today. Probably should have put my patch on. But anyways, if you have questions, drop them in. I'd be more than happy to answer those now. So just as kind of a recap, you know, we went over the 5 mistakes to avoid when getting your association documents. We also have this new service now over at East Coast PMA because people have been asking for it. So I have a PMA Compliance and Document Audit. Right now it's on sale to the end of the month for $250. And what that includes is a video conversation with me at some point once I get your documents. So let's say you bought documents from Mickey Mouse, and you want me to review those, you send me your documents. I review your documents. I make notes and give you ideas of where you can strengthen your documents or things you should just take out altogether because it's a mix mash of legal mumbo jumbo, so to speak, where you're combining too many things into one. And that's what we saw with a lot of the associations early on when people were writing these. And that usually takes me about 5 to 7 days, depending on how big is my caseload is and how much PMA work I'm doing, political stuff, the radio show. So with that, I hopefully can get it back in 5 to 7 days, and then we'll have a 30-minute Zoom call or meet and call, your choice, and go over exactly what the recommendations are to strengthen your documents. And then we have a bunch of other stuff on the website on sale. So if you're looking to buy the DIY templates, those are on sale. If you're looking to have me write your documents, that's on sale too. Just figured I would, do kind of like a summer flash sale for the next few weeks. And hopefully this helps people who are looking into getting associations set up and off the ground, because I think they're great. I think it's a great way to bring people together in your community by having these associations. And if you go back, to the 30s to 50s, in between there, associations and groups were really big. You have your Elks Club, your Moose Lodges, your French clubs, all these different clubs that people belong to, your American Legion, VFW, Masonic lodges, all these different things that people used to be a part of. And we've kind of gotten away from that. Everybody's on their, phone all day long. So I think it's great when people say, hey, I want to create an association. I want to have an unincorporated association. This is what my goal is. This is what I'm looking to do. This is how I'm looking to bring people together. And now let's do that with properly formed documents. Or if you've already done it and you've been operating for a few years, maybe you just want to have your documents looked over again. I would highly suggest that. And because I've been asked a few times, that's why we're doing it. So hopefully this helped. The next video will probably be perusing through. I think I should go over to Rumble. I don't think I've gone through Rumble yet to look at who's posting what up there about associations or PMAs, and see if we can debunk or debunk a few of those, or deconstruct, however you want to put it. But yeah, let's do that. So anyways, folks, thanks for watching. Thanks for those who had jumped on. We're just going to keep this under 20 minutes today, which is fantastic because I've got a farm stand I have to build and I've been putting it off for weeks. So I'm going to go get that done today. And thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.